The rain fell like bullets against the cracked windows of their downtown apartment, hammering a rhythm of war against the fragile glass. Inside, Michael sat hunched over his aging laptop, its keyboard worn from countless nights of endless typing. His eyes burned with exhaustion, yet they gleamed with something else, hope. The email on his screen confirmed the unthinkable. The Harris Global Industries contract, worth $50 million, was his. This was it, their salvation. No more ramen noodles, no more second-hand clothes, no more shame when Claire refused invitations from wealthier friends. Tonight was supposed to be the night he told her that their sacrifices had paid off. But the slam of the apartment door tore that dream apart. Claire's heels clicked across the linoleum, sharp and unforgiving, each step a countdown to disaster. She entered, soaked from the storm, mascara smeared, but her eyes burned with something far darker than the weather. "Michael," she spat, his name no longer tender but venom. She didn't wait for his reply. From her purse, she pulled out a thick manila envelope and threw it onto the table with the finality of a gunshot. "Divorce papers." Michael froze. His lips trembled, ready to tell her of the deal that would change everything, but Claire's voice cut him down before the words could escape. "You're pathetic. A complete failure. I wasted the best years of my life waiting for you to become a man, and you never did." He whispered her name, but she raised her hand like she was silencing a beggar. Then came the final blow. "His name is David Richardson. He's everything you're not: successful, wealthy, driven. He asked me to marry him. I said yes." The screen behind Michael glowed with numbers that proved her wrong, but he minimized it. A strange calm filled him. Pride? Fear? He didn't know. All he knew was silence. She stormed out with her victory, leaving Michael in ruins, his world collapsing around him. Yet beside him, hidden behind a single click, was the truth that would one day turn her arrogance into ashes. Claire wasted no time parading her new life online. Within days, her social media glittered with pictures of Paris vacations, sparkling diamonds, and dinners that cost more than their old rent. Her followers cheered her upgrade, but Michael knew better. He had signed the divorce papers quietly, letting her believe she had won. But as she flaunted David's wealth, Michael buried himself in work. The Harris Global deal was only the beginning. He slept little, thought endlessly, and built Harris Global Industries into a name that shook the entire tech sector. Within a year, his face graced the covers of Forbes, Business Insider, and the Wall Street Journal. "Tech visionary transforms industry overnight," the headlines declared. Richardson Holdings, the empire of Claire's new husband, began to feel the heat. Their stocks dipped as Michael's software disrupted everything they had built. Investors whispered. Board members argued. Michael, once branded a failure, was now a titan. Yet he remained single, his heart scarred. Success replaced love, silence replaced vengeance. Until one day, an ivory envelope embossed with gold landed on his desk. "Claire Richardson cordially invites you to her wedding." And inside, a note written in her cruel hand, "No hard feelings, Michael. Come see what a real wedding looks like. Maybe you'll learn something about success." Michael's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. She had no idea. The Grand Metropolitan Cathedral glistened like a palace. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, and an orchestra filled the air with symphonies of triumph. 500 guests gathered, the city's elite waiting to witness the union of David Richardson and his glittering bride. Claire, draped in a gown worth more than most people's salaries, beamed with pride. Today wasn't just a wedding, it was her declaration of victory over the man she'd abandoned. She would prove to the world that she had traded up. But outside, a convoy of black SUVs rolled to a stop. Doors opened with military precision. Bodyguards in tailored suits fanned out, scanning the crowd. And then he emerged. Michael Harris. No longer the broken man she had discarded. He walked with the calm authority of a king. His Italian leather shoes struck the marble steps, his tailored suit caught the light, and his presence silenced the crowd. Cameras flashed, guests whispered, and the MC announced his arrival. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Michael Harris, CEO of Harris Global Industries." Inside, David's smile faltered. The board of Richardson Holdings exchanged uneasy glances. They knew Michael's empire was eating theirs alive. Claire, in her bridal suite, turned pale. Her hands trembled as she peered out the window. It wasn't possible. The man she had called a failure now commanded more respect than her husband-to-be. And as Michael signed the guest book with quiet confidence, Claire realized this was no accident. This was his arrival, not to celebrate her, but to show her everything she had lost. The ceremony passed in a haze. David stumbled through his vows, distracted by Michael's calm gaze from the pews. Claire's voice wavered, her once perfect confidence shattered by the weight of her ex-husband's silent presence. The guests gossiped, and photographers chased Michael more than the bride and groom. At the reception, the disaster grew worse. CEOs abandoned David's side to court Michael. Investors whispered about Richardson Holdings' collapsing stock. The wedding meant to showcase David's power had become Michael's coronation. On the balcony, Claire finally confronted him. Her makeup streaked with tears, her voice cracked with desperation. "Michael, I was wrong. About you. About everything. Can we try again?" Michael studied her, his eyes cold but calm. The woman he had once loved was gone, replaced by someone who had traded loyalty for luxury. "I did love you once, Claire," he said softly. "But I love my peace more." With that, he turned and walked back into the glow of celebration, leaving her in the shadows of regret. The woman who had abandoned a dreamer for riches was left watching as the dreamer became a king. And Michael, surrounded by admirers who respected him for his vision and resilience, knew the truth: real success isn't handed to you, it's earned, even when the world calls you a failure. After Claire walked out, Michael buried himself in work like a man possessed. The pain of betrayal lit a fire inside him. Nights blurred into mornings, coffee cups piled high, and the glow of the computer screen became his only companion. But with each line of code, each meeting, each signature, he was building something monumental. Harris Global Industries wasn't just another startup. It was a revolution. Michael had designed a platform that integrated artificial intelligence and global logistics in a way the world had never seen. His software didn't just solve problems, it rewrote industries. Investors who once laughed at him now begged for a seat at the table. Competitors studied him like prey studies a predator. By the end of the year, Harris Global was worth hundreds of millions, and Michael's name was whispered in every boardroom from New York to Tokyo. Still, he never flaunted his wealth. He remembered the nights of hunger, the cramped apartment, and the woman who left because he wasn't enough. His silence became his weapon, his work his vengeance. Claire thought she had traded him for a king. What she didn't know was that she had abandoned an emperor in the making. Claire's life with David sparkled on the surface: jets to Paris, champagne dinners, diamonds that glittered in every photo. But behind closed doors, cracks began to show. David was charming in public, cold in private. To him, Claire was an accessory, a trophy wife to display, not a partner to cherish. He controlled everything: what she wore, where she went, even who she spoke to. The excitement of wealth began to feel like a golden cage. And though she silenced her doubts with more shopping sprees, she noticed whispers in boardrooms about Harris Global, about Michael Harris. David dismissed it at first, but soon his company's numbers began to fall. Stocks slipped. Deals vanished. Investors grew restless. And the name Michael Harris surfaced in every crisis meeting. Claire pretended not to care. Yet at night, scrolling through the news, she saw Michael's face on Forbes covers, his confident smile replacing the hollow one she remembered. She told herself she didn't regret leaving, but doubt gnawed at her like a hidden wound. It was David's idea to host the wedding in grand style, a spectacle of wealth and power that would remind everyone Richardson Holdings was still strong. The Grand Metropolitan Cathedral was reserved, 500 guests invited, and every detail planned to perfection. Claire insisted on sending Michael an invitation. "Let him see what real success looks like," she said with a cruel laugh as she scribbled the handwritten note, "No hard feelings. Maybe you'll learn something about success." David smirked but said nothing. Secretly, he feared the man his board whispered about. He underestimated Michael's patience, his quiet strategy. While Claire prepared for her moment of triumph, Michael's lawyers quietly acquired Richardson Holdings stock. By the time the cathedral doors opened, Michael controlled a third of David's empire. When the envelope landed on Michael's desk, he read the note once, then set it down. A slow smile crossed his face. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The day of the wedding shimmered with extravagance. Chandeliers blazed, marble gleamed, and an orchestra filled the cathedral with soaring notes. Guests buzzed about the power couple they had come to celebrate. Then the convoy arrived. Black SUVs rolled up like a presidential motorcade. Security stepped out first, scanning the crowd. Then came Michael. Gone was the man in second-hand suits. He stepped onto the red carpet in tailored Italian wool, a platinum watch catching the sun, his every movement commanding attention. Camera flashes erupted. Conversations died. The MC's voice trembled as he announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Harris, CEO of Harris Global Industries." Inside, David's confidence faltered. The board of directors shifted uneasily. They knew what Harris Global meant, the beginning of the end for Richardson Holdings. Claire, in her bridal suite, stared from the window, her heart pounding. She had left a dreamer and now faced a king. The ceremony unfolded in whispers. Guests craned their necks to watch Michael instead of the bride. David stumbled over his vows, beads of sweat forming under the lights. Claire's words shook, her once perfect confidence stripped away. At the reception, the humiliation deepened. Investors surrounded Michael, eager to court the man who had changed the tech world. CEOs toasted him, ignoring David. Photographers snapped his photo more than the bride and groom. The Richardson wedding had become Michael's stage. By evening, Richardson Holdings stock plummeted another 10%. News outlets reported live from the cathedral, "Michael Harris makes surprise appearance at Richardson wedding." Social media erupted with comparisons, memes, and hashtags that made David the punchline. Claire smiled for cameras, but inside, panic clawed at her. This was supposed to be her victory lap, but Michael had stolen the show without saying a word. Claire finally cornered him on the balcony, the city lights sprawling below like diamonds scattered across velvet. Her voice cracked, her hands trembled. "Michael, I was wrong. About you, about everything. Can we try again?" Michael studied her, his eyes calm but unreadable. He remembered the rain, the apartment, the night she threw his dreams in his face. She hadn't left because he failed, she left because she couldn't see the man he was becoming. "I did love you once, Claire," he said at last, his voice steady. "But I love my peace more." With that, he walked past her, back into the glow of his admirers. Claire remained alone on the balcony, tears smudging her perfect makeup, the weight of regret pressing down like chains. Inside, the man she had abandoned commanded the room like a king, while her new husband's empire crumbled beneath his feet. The woman who had traded loyalty for luxury finally understood, real success isn't stolen or borrowed. It's earned, and once lost, some second chances never come back.